Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Karina Jenkins, and I am the Graduate Program Manager within the Department of Professional Studies for the programs at Shady Grove. I want to welcome you to the UMBC Biotechnology Virtual Open House. We hope you enjoy the presentation, and without further ado, I introduce you to the Graduate Program Director, Connie Dudley.
Thanks, Karina, and welcome everybody. We appreciate you being here on a nice but busy evening, I'm sure. So thank you for taking time out of your evening to be with us tonight. As Karina mentioned, I'm the Graduate Program Director for the Biotechnology programs at UMBC, and very excited to be able to have a chance to interact with you and take your questions and tell you a little bit more about the program, about the campus, and things like that. So for those of you who may be familiar with UMBC, our main campus is located just outside of Baltimore, but we are very fortunate in that this program is housed at the universities at Shady Grove in Montgomery County. And that actually puts us right in the middle of where most of our students are coming from, who are either already working in or would like to be working in the biotechnology industry. The strong concentration of those companies, the biotechnology, biopharma companies in Montgomery County, lends itself to our location at universities at Shady Grove. So we are actually very conveniently located. We're just north of the DC Beltway, just off of 270. So really accessible to anybody who's in the general region. And that also includes Northern Virginia, the district, and most of Maryland. So we're really happy to have relocated to this area. So in biotechnology, we have two fundamental programs. We have a Master of Professional Studies, and our master's degree is 30 credits. We also have a graduate certificate in biotechnology management, which is 12 credits. And just so you know, you can always start off in the certificate program and go into the MPS, but most of our students do start off in the MPS and finish through that program. So the MPS in biotechnology has 6 core courses, so 18 credits, and 4 electives. And we're going to be talking about those electives in just a moment, but the core courses are really in the business of biotechnology, emerging topics, which could be any number of topic concentrations, experimental design, which is a little bit with a little bit of a focus on statistics. We have management, leadership, and communication, very important. Leadership has become increasingly important in this general area, especially as we've seen companies having to do a lot of pivoting from their main line of business into things like COVID vaccine production. We'll talk about that a little bit. Legal and ethical issues in biotechnology, as well as a capstone, which we have designed to be able to bring all of these points together for you and finalize your program with that capstone and a final project. Currently, we have quite a number of electives, and we're building out more actually as we speak. Bioprocessing, upstream, downstream, and fundamentals of industrial bioprocessing. We also have quality assurance and quality control. And regulatory, we have a number of courses in the regulatory area, including GMP, the GMP facility design, construction, and validation. We also get into device and combination products, as well as project management fundamentals, because project management is increasingly, again, more important in the biotech biopharma space. And so, as I mentioned, we're developing new electives. Last summer, one of the electives that we offered was biotechnology in the age of pandemic, what we're learning from COVID. So in the certificate, there are 4 courses for a total of 12 credits: the business of biotech, management, leadership, and communications, law and ethics, as well as project management. And keep in mind, in the certificate, you don't get electives. It's these 4 courses and so it's very, very clear and very direct in that. And those are all transferable into the master's program. So what's going on in industry to make this worthwhile? Well, you'll see that the Maryland, Virginia, DC Metro is the biohealth capital region, and we are 4th in the nation in terms of being a biotech biopharma cluster. So we are very heavy in this area at this time. We've grown even since then because some of the companies that have moved into the area, like Kite Pharma, and Novartis has consolidated more of their operations into our area. So we're very excited to be a part of that. And this is an exciting time to be a neighbor to those companies that are working on further development in this area in the Maryland biotech corridor. So what are the things that make our program strong and very exciting to be a part of? First and foremost, we are industry relevant. We have the belief that you should be able to learn something in classes today and apply them at work tomorrow. And our instructors, most of our instructors have a lot of industrial experience. So, and you may have people who are actively working in one of those companies that you're aspiring to be a part of or may already be a part of. So very excited to have faculty that's really top notch, who's out there doing the things that they're teaching you every day. In terms of flexibility, we have an evening schedule so that you have ample time to balance your career and your life. It is each course meets 1 day a week. And that is generally in the evening from 6 to 9 or 6 to 8:30, 8:45. Right now we are online, but we are moving more of our programming back to hybrid and in person as well. So we are not an exclusively online program, just keep that in mind. But we are still trying to work in a lot of flexibility so that our program is really complementary to your career and to your life. And we are thrilled to have a very interactive program. Our faculty love to have that one-on-one with you, and so you'll experience a lot of really dynamic discussions. I know the classes that I teach, I love being able to have challenge our students and have our students challenge me. And so you'll see that there are lots of opportunities to get into really deep discussions about the things that you're learning, as well as project-based learning. So in many of your classes, you'll have the opportunities to do things that are really project-oriented. It's not just about taking tests. We have a lot of things where you're going to be interacting with each other and with those of us who are teaching you. So very excited about that. As I mentioned before, we are really focused on leadership, skill building, because this is something that, as we've learned from our alumni, has become more and more important just in the nature of the work that we do and the nature of the challenges that we're meeting in industry. We also like to provide opportunities for networking, for webinars and industry talks. We also want to make sure that our students avail themselves of the career services and all of the things that UMBC and the universities at Shady Grove have to offer. So if anyone is coming from the federal government, FAES, you may be familiar with that at NIH. There is we have an agreement with NIH, with FAES, to transfer some credits that you may earn there into our program. We would recommend that you get in touch with Melinda Maris at NIH, and we're happy to help transfer in those credits that you may have earned already there. So I'm happy to talk to anybody, if you have more questions about that or need more information about what courses and how to get those transferred in. And Karina is actually more of an expert on the transfer process than I am, but we are all happy to help you get that done. So we do accept students year-round into the program. Our next deadline is May 1st, so that you can start in the summer if you so choose. We're having a couple of core courses, including experimental design and law and ethics, that will be offered during the summer. And then the fall deadline for fall is August 1st. And again, we're expecting to have quite a few interesting courses that are offered, including bioprocessing and some more regulatory, and a few core courses in the fall as well. You can apply online. It's a fairly easy application. Upload your materials, and again, Karina is the expert on getting that information into us. But we are very happy to take a look and assist you with any glitches that you might have getting the application process going. But we would definitely love to see your applications come in, and we're able to make decisions at least fairly quickly if you provide all the information that the application requires. So in terms of contacting us, please do contact me if you have questions about the program itself. My email is there, and Karina and the administrative and admissions team, the email that gets you to folks like Karina is there as well, sgprofessionalprograms@umbc.edu. Please do let us know if you have questions or if there's a way that we can be of help to you. We'd also like to note that on Wednesday, May 26th at 9 in the morning, we have an international student Q&A for international applicants who want to learn more about the program and who want to learn more. This is something that we will also have our Center for Global Engagement with us to answer some detailed questions that some folks may have about immigration documents and the process, and generally what the graduate student experience is here at UMBC. And so, I do want to mention DPS 2021 is the code that you'll want to mark down to waive the application fee. So we do appreciate you spending time tonight and hearing our information and hopefully getting some questions answered. So please be sure to note that code again, DPS 2021, DPS 2021, and that is you'll be able to enter that and get the application fee for the program waived. And so the questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Karina can get those that way, and hopefully we'll be able to answer whatever questions you might have.
Hi, this is Sergio. I have a question regarding application deadlines for international students. Will that be the same as for US citizens, like to allow to visa processing and all sort of things?
It's a good question. So we do have the same deadline for all applications. However, we do encourage international students to submit their materials as early as possible, as early as 6 months if you're able to, in order to give us enough time to review your application, and if you're admitted to go through the immigration document process.
I would add one additional thing, and even though it's not required, we do encourage international applicants to submit something like a WES evaluation of your transcript, because it really helps us to look at your transcript more quickly. And so if you have that and would care to submit that, that would be very helpful to us in expediting that review. So I do appreciate that. And again, the immigration, the visa process is its own animal, and so we're very mindful of that. Like Karina said, the more time, the better to get that process going. but we'll try to be as helpful as we can.
Thank you.
We have another question from Vanessa. When does hybrid and in-person class commence?
So right now we have our courses for the summer are mostly online. We do have experimental design is currently scheduled and has been approved as a hybrid class for summer. In the fall, we expect that more of our courses rather, will be both hybrid and in person. So hybrid would meet a couple of times in person with the balance of the work being online. And then those courses that are all in person, right now we don't have any courses that are 100% in person scheduled for the fall, but we're also taking guidance where we can to see when that might happen, when courses would return. We do expect, and we even prior to COVID, we had a number of courses that were in a hybrid format, simply because we were able to have students concentrate their efforts in the online programming aspect of things. So we do expect a fair number of courses to resume in their hybrid formats. And please note that when whether we're in person, hybrid, or fully online, we do utilize Blackboard as our online platform. And so most of your assignments, your syllabus, all the essential coursework materials, other than your textbooks, will be on there. Even if we are in person, just know that Blackboard is the platform that we do use for transmitting that and uploading assignments, that kind of thing.
Another question from the chat from Rodrigo. Can the 3-year part-time master's timeline be finished earlier, like in 2 years?
Yes, actually, many of our students do finish in 2 years, give or take a term, but many of our students go year round. And so in that vein, you're able to basically complete the program in 2 years. Not everybody chooses to, and many people have, are working with their employers to determine, how much an employer might be willing to pay in a given year. So can it be done? Absolutely. The logistics of that may be something that's very personal to you. If it can be done in the context of, tuition reimbursement and those kinds of issues.
Next question we have in the chat from Makalia. I was wondering approximately how many people are admitted into the program at one time? Are individuals who have more work experience more likely to get admitted to the program than individuals who have recently graduated and have 1 to 2 years of work experience in the biotech industry?
So in terms of admission, we do look at your total package. So I can't say that it's more people who are more experienced or less experienced. It's when you have work experience, it's more for us to look at in terms of your professional growth. And we may have a lesser focus on your grades than we do if you're a very recent graduate or anticipate about to graduate. We'll focus more on your grades than your experience in those cases. So I wouldn't say it's one or the other, but it changes. It may change our focus as to what we're looking at. I'm not sure if that helps. In terms of the numbers, the program is actually growing right now. So we are getting a lot more applications, and so our number of new students will be commensurate with that. We had a year during the time that we moved from the Baltimore campus to Shady Grove, but that's picking up rapidly. And so So we're looking at rather robust numbers right now, and that's a very good thing. Remember that you're going to be learning a lot from your classmates in addition to your professors, and which is a really great thing because everybody brings a unique experience to the program. So if you're working for a biotech or biopharma right now, sometimes questions that come up in class are going to have a lot to do with what you're experiencing, how things work at your company, your respective companies. So you'll get to have the benefit of a lot of the experience of your classmates in addition to what you're learning from professors' experiences as well as your materials.
Okay, the next question I have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry I obtained years ago. Is it advisable to enroll for the certificate course or master's directly?
Really, I think it's really a matter of what you'd like to get out of it. Of course, I'd say a master's. We have many students who've taken a break between their bachelor's and the time that they enroll in their master's. The benefit of a master's certificate is great. Don't forget, your courses are largely transferable from one to the other, but starting off in the master's program can be very good because it says you're really committed to upping your career. And this is something that many of our alum have found to be tremendously helpful. A master's in biotech has really put a lot of our alum, taken them into leadership roles that many didn't even expect would go as far as it did. And so we have alum who made the leap into the master's and who are now, setting up new labs, running different operations for quality assurance, or have regulatory roles that are very exciting for them. So having been someone who's gone back to school after a number of years, sometimes it's good just to say, you know what, I'm committing to this master's, I'm doing it for me. And for me personally, it was a great leap to make. So something to consider, but certainly it's really about what you feel you're ready for. I'm sure that for many people, when you've taken that time between one degree and another, it makes you a little bit nervous at first about getting it back into the classroom. But once you're there, whether it's a certificate program or a master's program, once you kind of get into the swing of things, it really works out well. And so my personal recommend is by all means, come join us in the master's program, the MPS program.
Okay, the next question I have, I would like to know if any of the research-based summer classes are offered to the TLST undergraduate students at UMBC?
Actually, that's a question that I can't answer. As far as, is the question, are you asking if undergraduate students would be permitted to take a graduate class? Am I?
Hi, Ms. Dudley. Yes, thank you for answering my questions. I'm doing the TLC program, so I was wondering if the classes are offered to the undergrad students, the research-based classes.
So what I would probably say is that you may want to talk to Dr. Fryer about that, and to see, if that's something that would be able to be used as a course to complete your TLST requirements. I would have to defer to her. Now, we have had undergraduate students in graduate classes in the past. It's been fairly rare. And as far as research-based classes, yeah, so most of the MPS program is not a research-based program. We're not something like a master's in biochemistry, for example, where you'd have a specific you know, a master's thesis, something like that. So, but I'm happy to talk to you offline. Maybe if I'm not understanding the question, but I would definitely touch base with Dr. Fryer, and I'm happy, you know, if you want to have a discussion with the three of us, that would be no problem at all. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
All right, I'll take the next question. It's to clarify the tuition information. So yes, you see, for anybody who's able to look at the link I included in the chat, under the tuition says it's $659 per credit, and then under Maryland resident, it says $1977. So the $1977 is the total per class per 3 credit course. So it's $659 times 3 credits. So it's $1977 per course. Hope that clarifies that. The next question. I have years of business program and IT project management experience, even in the biotech industry. My interest is to be a director of program management to support clinical development or regulatory teams. Would the certificate program provide me the clinical and regulatory knowledge to make me marketable candidate?
So that's an interesting question. As I mentioned, the certificate program is 4 courses. In terms of getting exposure to regulatory, you really wouldn't have that in the certificate program, because the certificate program is really about, as I mentioned, the business of biotechnology. It's got leadership and management, those kinds of things, but you don't have the opportunity to take any electives, and that's where you would have exposure to the regulatory environment. And we don't, in terms of clinical development, we're actually in the process of developing clinical management coursework right now that we hope to be able to offer potentially in the fall, but most likely in next spring. So the certificate program, as I mentioned, is a little bit more limited because you don't have the opportunity to take electives, whereas in the master's program you do. And you would have the opportunity to take some of that regulatory coursework and some of the other electives that would likely feed into that to help give you a more robust experience in that regulatory framework.
Dr. Dudley, and could I just elaborate? This is May. I posed that question. Could I just ask a further question just to elaborate a little bit more? I appreciate your reply. What about for, you said the business of biotech, would there be enough knowledge there that I could obtain that would also help me just really learn about the life cycle of product development? So
the business of biotech is really about technology commercialization. So so it's a piece of it. It's it's definitely the business side of product development. It does not get heavily into any of the regulatory framework. It gets into some of the business making decisions about that, and a little bit on the intellectual property side as well, because that certainly feeds into it about, you know, what are the criteria that enable companies or spin-offs to want to take a technology, you know, from the bench into the marketplace, as well as what are some of the considerations that investors would look at in taking that technology from the bench to the marketplace and investing in that.
Okay. And to help the company kind of move from maybe preclinical research all the way through like product licensing, submission, and so forth.
Right. But as I mentioned, we don't get into the regulatory component of it.
Thank you.
In that class, though.
Okay, but certainly if I want to just start with a certificate program and then just take classes thereafter, but not get the master's degree, that's still an option.
Correct. You can start. Okay. We've had a number of people who started the certificate program and then move and take that and then move into once they're comfortable, move into the master's. But it really becomes a matter of what you know, what you want to commit to from the beginning, or do you want to kind of try it before you buy the whole master's?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next question, for international students with prospects of moving to Maryland, do I calculate the tuition fee per course credit as a Maryland resident or non-resident? So I believe you would calculate it as a non-Maryland resident. So it'd be $3,396 per course. And for everybody, you'd have to also calculate the various fees that are required for Shady Grove, which are less than what they are at the main campus. And the next question, I'm still in the last semester of my undergraduate degree in biotechnology, and I'm interested in the course content. Am I eligible to apply for fall 2021? And if yes, will my application be considered?
Yes. So if you're just finishing, if you're in the last semester right now, you can apply now for fall. Your application will be considered. What I would say is that everything would then kind of be contingent. So we can make a decision on admission with the understanding that you must complete your bachelor's work. And we would make that presumption that yes, you're gonna complete the work. We still require all the same documentation that we would even if you had already graduated. But yes, you can certainly apply, and then like I said, with that understanding that we do need to make sure that you have finished your bachelor's degree before starting your master's degree. And Karina may have a little bit more information as far as, you know, when that documentation is required.
Yeah, so we would need to have proof of degree conferred before you start classes, or yeah, I believe it's before you start classes in fall 2021. So it would just be a final official transcript showing that your degree was conferred either spring 2021 or summer 2021. The next question, how long are summer semesters, and are the regulatory engineering certificate classes regularly available every semester where I'd be able to complete that program in about a year?
So the summer courses, we have summer 1 and summer 2. Summer 1 has an 8-week and I believe a 12-week, and Karina, you can correct me on that. And summer 2 has another 8-week course. Now, in terms of the regulatory certificate, I will tell you that while we do offer that coursework, the regulatory coursework that you'll see related to that, that's actually owned by the engineering department. And so the scheduling for that happens there. Dr. Tony Morera is the person who runs that program. And as I mentioned, while we offer those courses as BTech courses as well, the issue as far as can you complete that in 1 year, Dr. Morera would be the person to ask about that, because he's the only one who knows when those courses are actually offered.
Alyssa, we'll get you that contact information in an email. The next question I have, where are the program graduates now? Are they in PhD programs, MD programs, industry, research, etc.?
Yes. The answer is yes. We have our graduates. Our graduates have certainly been, gone to greater challenges within biotech and biopharma. Some are within research. We have people who are in clinical research at places like University of Maryland, Baltimore, at the medical school, as well as at Johns Hopkins. We have folks who are in PhD programs. We have, I know we have other master's programs as well. We also have graduates who've gone on to medical, dental, and even law school. So they are all over the place. We have graduates who are in every aspect of life, truly, including a few who, I know one in particular who's an Air Force officer now, as well as someone else who joined the FBI. So our graduates go into a lot of different areas, a lot of different directions, and this has been a program that has been really critical in the next step of their career journey. So it's very applicable in a lot of different areas, and you can really use the program for what your goals and aspirations are, as opposed to simply going, no, we only want to generate this kind of a person, you know, with this kind of a job. That's not how we view this at all. We really want to get people interested in using this program to reach the goals that they have in their lives.
So I have a two-part question, and the first part is I want to be enrolled as a part-time student. I want to know what is the required capacity as a part-time student? Is it 2 classes at a time, 1 class at a time, or is it at your own discretion? And the second part is, what is the main content of the entirety of the program in terms of, is it biochemistry based or cell biology based? And then you go through the inner workings of downstream and upstream. And also, with reference to the downstream and upstream principles, is that a practice-based, kind of like a capstone, or lab-based?
So, all right, so let me start back at your first question. So first of all, the program is considered to be a part-time program. We do have a few, with most students taking 2 courses at a time. Now, we do have some people who take 3, because I believe that might be what a visa requires. But for the most part, many of our students are taking it 2 courses per semester, per term. And so it's really built as a part-time program to be complementary to your work. So, and we do from time to time, we'll have people who take 1 or even take a semester off, really depending on what their schedule requires and how they can best achieve, you know, that work-life balance. So we want to make sure that we're very sensitive to that. Some people have completed the program very quickly. Others have taken a little bit longer, simply because that's just what life has necessitated for them. The next question that you had, hopefully I answered the first question. So as far as the focus of it, we do, like I said, we do have coursework in things like bioprocessing that they're really, we're not a program that is heavily reliant on one exclusive set. So we're not requiring that everybody has a biochemistry background, or we're not requiring that everybody has the same kind of scientific background. We really want to have folks who are taking a scientific background, that technical bent, and applying it to being able to lead people in those areas. We do have, I probably, and Karina maybe has some more of the stats on this than I do. We have a number of people, I don't know if it's quite half, but we have a number of people who are taking more of a bioprocessing focus. So they'll take fundamentals, they'll take upstream and downstream bioprocessing, whereas we have another group of people who are more focused on the regulatory aspects of biotech, biopharma. And so they'll take GMP, GXP, facility design, those kinds of courses, as well as some of the people who take a little bit of each one. So it really can become the kind of program that is reflective of, again, what you want to achieve out of the program, as opposed to simply saying, well, we're going to generate this kind of a graduate and only somebody who's in bioprocessing or only somebody who's in regulatory. This is really designed to be that program that enables people to take the things that get them to their goals most efficiently. I probably missed some part of that question, so I apologize.
No, that was a good response. I kind of get what I was asking for. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. And we're certainly here for further questions as well. So don't hesitate to contact us if that pops up later.
Feel free to unmute if anybody else has any questions or type them into the chat.
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my last question is, anyways, thanks for answering the previous questions. My last question is, I don't have any experience in biotechnology. I graduated with a biochemistry, but I just worked there, I think, 7 years ago. And right now I am in a field that has nothing to do with biotech. So I was just wondering, like, I'm just skeptical as to take it. I really want to further into the science line, but I don't know if I can cope considering I haven't done anything science inclined for a while.
That's certainly a good question. I mean, one of the things that we try to have our applicants and our students focus on is to really take a good hard look at what, you know, how comfortable are you kind of getting back into it with the idea that some of the coursework would require you to, you know, to maybe have a refresher in some of the technical aspects of your background. So what I encourage some students to do, and many of us have been there, which is we have this degree that we did, you know, years ago, whenever it was, but yet we want to go back down that path. Maybe the answer for some folks is taking a little bit of additional coursework before you officially start the MPS program, to kind of get back into that line of thinking, to reacquaint yourself with the biochemistry or the chemistry, organic chemistry. I know, bad words to say, right? Organic chemistry. If I had to sit in an OChem class right now, I'd probably have a hard time. I'm not going to kid you. For those of you know, when you're away from one specific skill set, sometimes it takes a little bit. And we certainly have UMBC and other of the other schools within the USG system have those opportunities to take that kind of basic coursework again, so that you can feel more comfortable getting back into it. I think it's really a matter of evaluating where you are personally to be able to get back into that kind of train of thought that would make an MPS program like this a little bit more workable for you. So it's without knowing you individually, and it's a little tough to say. I mean, do you meet the requisites, you know, the requirements for admission? Probably. But in terms of what you are comfortable with, what your comfort level is with that working knowledge right now that you may have to use if you took, you know, a bioprocessing class or an experimental design class, that's a question that only you can answer. But we, like I said, we do have coursework, not within the program, but certainly within the university, that would enable you to get that refresher, get back into the swing of things, as we'd say. So maybe something to consider. We have students who go back and take statistics or calculus or some of those other kinds of classes as well, simply because there are things that you're going to need to use in the courses that we offer, but you may have taken them a long time ago. So it's helpful to get those refreshers.
Okay, the next question I have regarding career services, you mentioned some activities such as opportunities for networking. For those interested in going into industry, could you please elaborate on the type of activities facilitated by the program?
So it's right now, it's actually been learning a lot about being able to find ways to network, even though we've all been mostly at home. But we like to be able to pass along information about different networking activities. When we're all going about our business, you know, kind of pre-COVID, we encourage people to attend networking events, and we put those out as announcements to to all of our students so that everybody has an opportunity to show up and to meet and greet people who are in the industry, who are in our region. Online, we encourage people, if we see opportunities for networking events and different, whether it's a webinar or a conference or anything like that, we do pass those along so that you get a chance to be part of a group, to not just hear about a topic, but also to interact with the people who are both hosting and attending those events. So we do like to pass that information along to everybody. Career services is really important, and have regularly reminded me about how available they are to help you with everything from getting your resume shipshape to how to do effective job searches, and also the career services periodically has different seminars, webinars, if you will, online to be able to help folks out in getting good networking and career search strategies put into place.
Okay, the next question, can you please discuss the various assistantships, internships, and part-time jobs available for students around the university?
So in terms of part-time jobs, jobs just generally, again, we frequently get contacted by local companies. And when we do, if they're looking for people, we pass those opportunities along to our students. The other piece of that is that, again, with career services, if there are ways to make sure that you can present well to those companies, we want to encourage that, and we'll help you in any way we can to make that happen. I think in terms of assistantships and that, I'm going to have to defer on that. We don't have those within the department, but there may be others within the university. And so I would actually have to defer to Karina on that, simply because I'm not sure how that would work outside of the department.
Yeah, I'll speak a little to that. So if they're at the Shady Grove campus, we don't have very many assistantships open. If there are any available at the main campus, I can provide you with a website to review what is available. Again, we don't offer them through the department, since this is a program that's geared primarily towards working professionals. But if you need one, you're welcome to look at the university's website to see what's available, and you would have to go through an application process. All right, so the next question. There are 2 biotechnology masters at the USG campus by UMBC and UMGC. Could you go over why the UMBC program could give you an advantage over the others?
I believe the UMGC program is an exclusively online program. While they've been around a little bit longer, keep in mind that we are an MPS, a professional studies degree. And so we really look at the translational aspect of your biotechnology education. We incorporate a lot of the business aspects of biotechnology, so that not only are you learning some of the technical things that may also be available in the UMGC program, but we have a big focus on that leadership, on that growth aspect, on the career aspect of biotechnology. So we also, like I said, we'll be returning to more of that hybrid and in-person learning as well, which for many people works really, really well. Technical classes sometimes require a lot more hands-on interaction. So we'd like to think that we're the go-to program for that kind of interaction.
I don't have any other questions in the chat box right now. So if anybody has any other last minute questions, please feel free to either type it in or unmute yourself. Again, if you think of any other questions that you have after this session wraps up, please feel free to contact us via email, or you can find you can find my phone number on the website. Vanessa has another question. I think I need the refreshers course. Can I do both together?
That's a great question. I think it would really be a matter of, again, a personal decision about which courses you might need that refresher in. For example, if you needed a statistics refresher and you're trying to take it at the same time as experimental design, that could be very challenging. So it's really identifying what areas you need and how best to schedule that in the context of the courses that you're planning on taking. So I hate to say I don't know, but the reality is it's really personal about where you are in what aspects of what you might need. So if it's biochemistry and you want to start off taking bioprocessing, you may be best advised to take the refreshers first and then come into the program ready to go with that knowledge at your fingertips and fresh in your mind before you take those courses.
And there's a question about the presentation. Yes, the presentation will be available. We're recording this right now, so it'll be available on YouTube, and I believe we'll be sending that out as a follow-up email after today's session. The next question, for the certificate program, do the courses have to be taken in any specific sequence or order?
They do not. They're standalone courses, and so those are really it's about when they're scheduled. So they, unlike upstream or downstream bioprocessing, which it's usually better to take one and then the other, they're not designed to be sequential courses. We do encourage people to take those courses, since these are also co-taught. At least 2 of them are co-taught in other departments as well. So so take them as soon as they become available, just to make sure that they remain available. But otherwise, no, they're not dependent on one another. They are standalone.
Again, I don't see any other questions in the chat box, so if anybody has any other questions, feel free to unmute.
I have one last question. So with regards to the meeting times for the evening, is it only available in the evenings, or there are certain other times that it could be made available?
The courses only meet in the evenings. To the extent that if it's an online presentation, we do generally try to record those so they can be viewed or reviewed at a later time and posted. But otherwise, no. Once we're in an in-person or hybrid format for most of our programming, the meeting time is in the evening.
And an additional question to that is there classes that are just entirely online, or everything is hybrid?
Right now, at least we're online because of the COVID issue. But once we return to quote normal, they'll be in person and hybrid for the most part. We may have 1 or 2 that remain online, and we have a few that we're planning that would probably be either online or hybrid, because of the fact that we are able to get faculty from literally around the world to be able to participate, and we want to be able to offer you some great opportunities that way. But most of our programs will be either in person or hybrid.
And another question, would we be assigned an advisor to help coordinate classes or to discuss if a refresher is needed?
Right now, I'm advising students, but we also have faculty members who are happy to speak with students. And keep in mind that if you're looking at needing at least thinking you're going to be needing a refresher in a particular class, we generally try to put you in contact with that faculty member because they're the best source of information as to how much information you'll need going in. So that's the person who can give you the best assessment in light of your background, in light of your comfort level, what you might need to take, whether it's a course or just a maybe a Coursera type course, what you might need going in to their respective course to get that information.
Okay, if there are no other questions, going once, going twice. We'd like to thank you for attending this evening's session. As I mentioned before, we are recording this event and it will be available online for you to review. And again, feel free to reach out to us via email if you have any additional questions after this event. And I just want to remind you of the upcoming International Student Q&A event on May 26th at 9 a.m. Thank you so much for attending.